As a coach for nearly a decade now, I've worked with hundreds of people and I've noticed 9 habits that most people have in common when it comes to seeing weight loss success. But understand, when I say weight loss success, I'm talking about losing the weight and keeping it off, because a lot of people lose weight in the short term, and I hear all the time, I've seen success on X diet, but I ended up gaining the weight back. That is not success, and that really brings me right into the first habit I see, and that's focusing on sustainable habits you can do for the rest of your life, and not some short-term diet with a name you're only going to do until you lose the weight, because to keep the weight off, you have to do this stuff for the rest of your life. So what I see in people who succeed is they enjoy foods they actually like, but they do so in moderation. They learn how to include these things rather than banishing them. They don't have the all or nothing mindset. They have a lot of patience, and they basically just say, however long it takes, I'm going to let it take and not rush things, because when you go into extremes, not only does that mean you're going to diet in unsustainable ways, but you're going to do things like trash your metabolism. It's going to make it nearly impossible to keep doing it long term. So you want to focus not only on not having overly restrictive diet habits, but also you want to focus on doing workouts you actually enjoy and can keep doing. The second thing is accepting difficult situations are always going to happen, and you have to make decisions based on the plan you have and not on your emotions. When you get too wrapped up in your emotions, this is a recipe to never get anywhere. And far and away, the biggest thing that makes people quit is falling into the trap that difficult things are happening, life is getting busy, and now I can't do it. When that's not really true, because you'll have another person that can have the exact same circumstances and say, I didn't even know these things happened. So it really comes down to priorities. Now, none of this means you have to be perfect. I'm not saying you can't ever have balance, but you can't allow difficult circumstances to ever be the reason why you just now cannot do anything until life settles down, because then you'll just keep starting over and over for the rest of your life. The third thing I see that's a big difference maker is people who succeed, they're always anxious to try to do as much as possible, whereas the people who don't succeed are always trying to do the least amount possible. So say I'm trying to give them more cardio to create a calorie deficit, and they'll start asking questions like, can I count my flower planting and my household chores as cardio, even though you've already been doing that, so it's not even additional. Whereas people who succeed, I have to get them to calm down and say, no, you can't always do more. Like, I love the drive, but more isn't always better. The fourth habit is diligent monitoring of nutrition, usually also in combination with an emphasis on protein. Those who struggle tend to always be way low on their protein. They're going all over the place with their nutrition. They're blowing it out on the weekends. They're constantly struggling to stay on top of things and not consistently monitoring their intake. If you want fat loss success, knowing how much you're eating is a pretty key component, because this way, when things stop working, you know how to make adjustments. But without the consistency with your nutrition, it's really hard to get where you want to be. The fifth thing I see almost everybody who has success do is they plan and schedule their lives. They plan out their meals. They meal prep on the weekends. They schedule in their workouts during the week, especially when life gets really busy. Go into your calendar, block time off for your workouts, and have that scheduled in so you know when you're going to do it, because otherwise, if you get busy, you try to fit it in wherever you can. It gets to the end of the day, now you're exhausted. Plan ahead, know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, because I'm telling you, show me what you plan and schedule in your life, and I'll show you exactly what you're going to get. The sixth habit in those who succeed are they base their exercise around strength training, and they don't overdo the cardio. That doesn't mean there aren't times to do a lot more cardio, but the foundation of your exercise is based on strength training. And I'm telling you, people who don't succeed are always the cardio bunnies. When time does get short, they always prioritize their cardio over their strength training, even though strength training is significantly better for fat loss, because not only do you burn calories from the exercise itself, but you burn a lot of additional calories for the next couple of days as your body tries to recover from this, which you don't get from cardio. And your metabolism also becomes faster by adding more muscle, so you actually burn more calories at rest. Again, cardio doesn't do that for you. But with that, the seventh habit I see in people who succeed is they're active outside of the gym too. They usually take quite a few steps and do a lot of walking. People who succeed, I oftentimes see 7, 8, 9, 10,000 steps a day, if not more. But I'm telling you, those who struggle oftentimes don't get very many steps. They struggle to get even 1 or 2,000 steps a day. And walking is just so beneficial. It's easy to recover from. It's easy to do. And if you're looking for ways to be able to get more steps in and figure out how much you should do, I have a video in the description you can check out next. Now, I told you in the beginning, arguably the most important thing was sustainability, but this next one is at least a really close second, and that is people who succeed go all in and they commit to it. They don't say, I'm going to try or see what happens, because here's what happens when you say you're going to try something. You're basically saying you're going to do it if it's convenient, if it's not too hard. When you say I'm going to do it and you commit, that means you're going to do it no matter what. But you can't really have a medium or low commitment level. You're either committed or you're not. And if you don't truly commit, I can almost guarantee you're not going to see success, because it's going to get hard at some point. It's going to. You're going to see plateaus. You're going to get exhausted. Life is going to hit you upside the head, but But you know what? Just because it's gonna be harder or take longer doesn't mean you can't get there. So don't get upset about it. Just know that it's part of the process. And honestly, cliche or not, the longer it takes, the harder it is, the more proud of it you are when you get there, the more it positively impacts your life. So go all in with this process. But again, without falling into all or nothing. The 9th habit, this is something very few people seem to understand. It's getting more popular now, thankfully, but that is at the end of a diet, you have to then stop and reverse diet out by gradually increasing your calories to get them back up to a better level again. So many people reach their goal and then just feel like, well, now I have to stay on these crazy low calories forever. You feel run down and exhausted, and it feels like, man, I can't spend my whole life barely eating and feeling like crap. So then instead of bringing calories back up because you're afraid of gaining weight and undoing all your hard work, you either live that life feeling like crap and barely eating, or you say, well, it's just too hard, it's just not for me, and then you just end up saying screw it and just eating anything and everything, gaining the weight back rapidly and undoing all your hard work. So you have to understand your metabolism is suppressed from this dieting. There's no way around it. But by reverse dieting, you can now get your calories up pretty significantly most of the time and still be able to roughly maintain your weight and be in a way better position to be able to enjoy your life better. So don't be petrified of this, and also don't feel like you have to get all the way where you want to be in one attempt. A lot of people, I would argue, actually most people don't get there in one attempt. The body's just too adaptive. So you have to be okay with that and reverse out, take time, get your metabolism back into a better place, and then you can make the next cut and keep making progress that way. But if you feel like, well, I can't get there, so what's the point? And then just binge, you keep yo-yo dieting on and off, you just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Your metabolism just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So you have to understand there's no rush to do this. You're gonna have to work out and watch what you eat for the rest of your life. There's no such thing as a finish line. But I'm telling you, if you vow to never quit no matter what, and you have the grit and perseverance to say, I don't care how long it takes, I'm gonna get there, you will get there. I can't say how long, but it's not an if, it's a when, and I'm telling you, it's worth it. But with all that being said, sometimes it's gonna be really frustrating and you feel like you're doing everything right and you just can't lose weight no matter how hard you try. And if that's you, what I want you to do next is check out this top video up here, and I'll show you 5 likely reasons why you're not losing weight. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead, and I'll see you in one of those other videos.